Hello, everybody. Sterling here from the Canadian Shield. I want to address the comments by Danielle Smith about how she was telling Albertans they should be patient. She met with Mark Carney and then came out of that meeting saying, well, perhaps the Liberals have finally heard what we've had to say, so let's be patient. And of course, the corporate media, who ignores Danielle Smith or calls her names whenever Danielle Smith says we need to get rid of Bill C-69, Bill C-48, and get rid of the emissions cap. All of a sudden, they hear something from her that they want to hear, and now she's this darling of the media. Of course, there's two things that the far left is overlooking. One, in the center and on the right, we don't follow along like a bunch of herd animals. We're not a bunch of lemming like they are on the left. We have the ability to think for ourselves, and we have the ability to disagree with one another. And most of us are waiting patiently because we have no choice, because the Liberal government is the government of inaction. Mark Carney is the government of inaction. Of course, the other thing that they are overlooking is that Danielle Smith is getting a lot of grumbling from the population of Alberta about separation. They know they got trillions of dollars sitting there in the ground that the federal government is trying to block them from having. They know they got hundreds of thousands of jobs and trillions of dollars that they could be putting in their pocket. They are aware of that. Because the far left doesn't want to acknowledge that they are aware of that doesn't mean that they're not aware of that. These people think for themselves. They are quite aware of where the money is, and they know where the problems lie. So Danielle Smith telling people to just be patient is just her trying to keep Alberta from going into full-blown rebellion against Mark Carney, against the inactivity of the Liberal government, against the insensitivity of the Liberal government, who cares nothing for the plight of the Canadian population, so long as they can push the narrative of a very few select billionaires on the face of the earth. Don't put too much stock in what the corporate media is trying to tell you. And just remember that Danielle Smith also said that she'll know by the middle of November. So right there we have Mark Carney has roughly 60 more days to pull something out of his hat to decide that the Liberal government is changing direction 180 degrees and is no longer going to be worried about the net zero and the rest of the eco-mentalist foolishness that's coming out of their government for so long now. Of course, that's going to cause a lot of trouble for his own government, but we will see what happens. Of course, as Canadians, we have to be patient because we have no choice. The Liberal government is doing nothing, and we have to wait until those of the people who still believe in Mark Carney finally wake up and smell the coffee.